Privileged communication. Well, there's a client attorney privilege. You probably heard of that, whether it's through a TV show or just general knowledge about how the legal system works. But we also have tax practitioner client privilege. Well, communications between a taxpayer and their attorney, as well as communications between a taxpayer and a federally authorized tax practitioner, such as an enrolled agent, which is someone who can conduct taxes, right? We talk about them a little bit. You have to take a test, but really anyone can prepare taxes, remember? All you need is a PTIN, that number. But enrolled agent gives you a little more credibility. CPA gives you a little more credibility. Enrolled actuary, this is someone who's going to be a little more math-oriented, someone who's a little bit different. May be considered privileged under certain circumstances. So first talking about the attorney-client privilege, because remember, attorneys can be involved in this whole tax preparation process. Well, the attorney-client privilege protects confidential communications between a taxpayer and their attorney that are made for the purposes of obtaining legal advice. This privilege is going to apply to communications made to an attorney who is licensed to practice law in the relevant jurisdiction and who's acting in a legal capacity. The privilege belongs to the taxpayer, who may choose to waive it. Now, similarly, the tax practitioner-client privilege protects confidential communications between a taxpayer and their federally authorized tax practitioner that are made for the purpose of obtaining tax advice. This privilege is going to apply to communications made to a practitioner who is authorized to practice before the IRS and who is acting in a professional capacity. The privilege belongs to the taxpayer, who may choose to waive it. Now, it's important to note here that the tax practitioner-client privilege is more limited in scope than the attorney-client privilege. But for example, the tax practitioner-client privilege only applies to communications related to tax advice. So if you're talking to your tax practitioner about some insider trading or something, that is not going to fall under your privilege there, because, well, that's not going to be something related to tax advice, while the attorney-client privilege may apply to a broader range of legal advice. If you're talking to your attorney about any insider trading you did, that would still fall under attorney-client privilege, because it's just general law as compared to specifically tax preparation, which your tax practitioner has done. Privileged communications, confidentiality, and privacy acts are essential aspects of professional relationships, including those between tax practitioners and their clients. These protections are designed to maintain the confidentiality of information exchanged within certain relationships and prevent its disclosure as evidence in court without the consent of the privilege holder. So what are privileges available to CPAs? We've got the attorney-client privilege. Well, this privilege may apply when a CPA is engaged by an attorney to aid in providing legal services where the CPA's expertise is required. Lawyers work with CPAs, CPAs work with lawyers, very common situation there. We've also got the work product privilege. This privilege can protect tangible materials produced in preparation for litigation at the request of an attorney, but does not extend to communication between the attorney and accountant regarding the product. Lastly here, the tax practitioner taxpayer privilege. This applies to tax advice from a tax practitioner that would qualify under the attorney-client privilege. It is applicable only to federally authorized tax practitioners, which is someone who has a PTIN, right? Remember, that is important to know. You can prepare taxes legally for someone else if you have a PTIN. Now, tax practitioner privilege. This section provides certain communications between taxpayers and federally authorized tax practitioners are considered privileged. This privilege can be asserted in any non-criminal tax matter before the IRS and any non-criminal tax proceeding in federal court involving the United States. Who is a federally authorized tax practitioner? This term refers to individuals authorized under federal law to practice before the IRS, including CPAs, enrolled agents, and enrolled actuaries, which is getting a nice foundation for everything overall. What do these terms mean? Who applies? Well, what about limitations? The tax practitioner privilege does not apply to written communications related to the promotion of direct or indirect participation in any tax shelter. So if you're trying to advise your client on how to avoid taxes, through some illicit or frowned upon means, then guess what? You're not protected. This limitation applies to communications between a federally authorized tax practitioner and any person, director, officer, employee, agent, or representative of the person, or any other person holding a capital or profits interest in that person. There we go. Make sure you understand the limitations of these privileges and in which case they do not apply. Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.